After a 9-month restoration project that was only supposed to take 6 months, it is clear that the Malibu Lagoon has received a much-needed facelift. As you can see behind me, it's not the prettiest sight, but it's a work in progress. One thing the Malibu community can agree on here, after much support and detraction from the community, is they're glad the restoration project is over and that the lagoon is reopening on May 3rd. For Newsways 32, I'm Ryan Oliver.
Police are still searching for a suspect involved in a double shooting here in Alexandria, Virginia. The shooting took place here on Ridge Road in a typically quiet community. Is now left with the question, why? The Cherry Blossom Festival has been underway for nearly 3 weeks now, but the only thing missing is the cherry blossoms. If you look behind me real closely, you can see a little bit of pink, which means the flowers are beginning to bloom. According to Nielsen, nearly 99% of American households possess at least one television. Additionally, nearly 60% of households subscribe to some form of digital cable, meaning that Americans enjoy nothing more than grabbing the remote and turning on a little television. For District Wire News, I'm Ryan Oliver. Investigators are looking for a possible serial robber in Loudoun County, Virginia. The robber targets women and demands they take their clothes off. The most recent incident occurred on Valentine's Day when the robber pointed a gun at a woman's head while she was unloading groceries. 2 Washington Wizards represented D.C. at the NBA All-Star Weekend in New Orleans. Point guard John Wall is the first Wizards player to be voted to an All-Star game since Antoine Jamison and Caron Butler in 2008. Kemba Walker was the highest scorer for the Bobcats with 20 points. Game 2 of this series will be Wednesday night in Miami. And scary news for the Bobcats is their leading scorer, Al Jefferson, is reportedly in a walking boot after re-aggravating injury to his foot during Sunday's game. Jefferson is listed as day-to-day as the team awaits the results of an MRI on his foot.
And speaking of the NBA playoffs, we have our very own USA Today sports intern, Ryan. Ryan, what's your take on the NBA playoffs first round here?
Oh, man, I love the NBA playoffs. It's my favorite time of year. The intensity level has just risen. I mean, these teams are hungry for a championship. I think the team that I'm really looking forward to watching is Kevin Durant's Oklahoma City Thunder. Kevin Durant's a D.C. native.
Gotta get that in there.
Had to get that in there, always representing for D.C. But he's been on a mission this year. He's the MVP favorite. He's what all the experts are predicting that he'll win the award in a landslide. LeBron James is a close second. As you know, he's won 4 MVPs already. But Kevin Durant's really elevated his game, averaging 32 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He's shooting 40% from the three-point line, 50% from the field, almost 90% from the free throw line. So he's really doing it all for his team, and he's just put that team on his back. Westbrook has missed around 27 games this year to his constant knee injuries. But he's back, and they're looking scary. They were up about 25 points to Memphis, the team they're playing in the first round of the playoffs. Memphis made a comeback and cut the lead to 2, and then Durant and Westbrook turned it back on. And when they're on, I don't know if anybody can beat them.
And Westbrook and Durant's relationship has been good. People had questions about that,
right.
But it seems like it's been good.
Yeah, it's weird. People like to measure their relationship based on who gets the most shots, who plays the quote-unquote Batman role. Batman versus Robin. Batman was the leader, obviously, and people like to play that role. Oh, who's this and who's that? But I think people really gotta. They're a duo. It takes both of them to get.
They're partners.
Right, they're partners in crime, and they
like
need
Batman and Robin.
Right. They need both of them to get to the level they're not going to get to the championship without Westbrook, and they're definitely not going to get to the championship without Durant. So I think when you just look at the team, when they're hitting on all cylinders and they're playing on both sides of the ball, defense and offense. I mean, offense is not an issue for Kevin Durant as he scores 32 points a game. But if they're hitting on all cylinders, they're scary, and they're the team that I've picked to go to the finals and win the finals ultimately. So I'm really...
We got to get to the Wizards, though, because we don't have that much time.
Okay.
So the Wizards.
Get carried away.
The Wizards. So 5th seed,
Yes.
People talk a lot of smack about the Wizards.
I know.
What are your feelings?
They're not the same old Wizards. They came out in Game 1 in Chicago, and people, a lot of experts picked them to lose this series. And while one game isn't guaranteeing they'll win, it's a good 77% of the time, the winner of Game 1 goes on to win the series. It's big for the city of D.C. I mean, the team has just been terrible for so long, and to see John Wall getting an All-Star, and Nene really, he's been out for 21 games. He came back. He looked a little rusty at times, but last night he did not look rusty. He really He really came to play. 24 points, 8 rebounds, few assists, a couple key steals down the stretch, and he's really looked the part. I gotta love the big Brazilian.
The big Brazilian.
Yes.
Okay, and thank you very much for talking to us about sports today.
Of course.